Hi everyone, we are already live and take your time. There is no hurry. Take a seat. I always begin as soon as I can my session few instants before, just to warm up the room. So as you see, there is a QR code, and also I place the link on my thread and on comments. You are welcome to join the stage. It is our session, not only mine or Michelle or no matter what. So right now, as we are warming up, I'm already going to make some announcement because I would like to spot the light on various things that is boiling right now. So I hope that I am audible. I'm just checking on LinkedIn if I am live right now. And then I'm going to spotlight some amazing things going on. So bear with me while I am checking if my event is live. If my event is live. And so take a seat. It is live. Yes, it is live. Amazing. I'm not going to check LinkedIn. I will rely on the chat on stream, on Restream. So thank you, Willie J, for joining. What's up? Amazing, amazing. What's up, bro? Well, there is a lot of things. So before I'm welcoming Michelle and Sharon, that is waiting in the background, I'm going just stay here. I'm just going to spotlight some elements that I would like to spotlight before Sharon and Michelle. So right now, for instance, I will show this is the 50 inspirational connections. It started a month or two ago, I think. And it is a time where we can elevate each other's. And when we impact someone, we can impact 50 to 100 persons around this person. So thank you, CJ, for organizing that. I am blessed to be part of that. I was witnessing it last year on August. It was my first week or month that I was knowing you. So thank you, CJ, for making that inspiration and connection. Another thing I would like to spotlight is the anthology. It is the third anthology of CJ and Susanna. The first one I was co-author. It was Beyond Boundaries, and the second one is Beyond Boxes, and the third one that I am also co-author. So I'm co-author to Beyond Boundaries and Rebel with a Cause. And I'm really blessed because the most is done. I still have some adjustment, but the book will be released on September, and I'm really blessed to be able to share the story about education. So that's the second thing that I'm going to spotlight. So I'm going now to spotlight the third thing, the Hounds of Business, Mike Asha Brunner. Feel free to connect with him and with the community. We are amazing. We are at service to each other, empowering each other. And this is amazing because it's an amazing community that I like. Aside that, I'm going to show quickly the profile of Susanna Down because she is helping us to put our anthology up, and showing the profile of CJ because he is also amazing. She is helping us, Susanna, to bring that up. And last but not least, I would like to also empower Janlin because here is my new logo, French Holly, a name that was attached to my LinkedIn for years and years, but now I'm going to really make it new. And thank you again, Janlin, for your creativity. You are amazing. So with that, I'm going now to, hopefully they are still there. Welcome, Michelle. Woohoo!
Hey, how's it
Welcome,
going?
Sharon.
Hey, hey everybody.
How
I'm
are
doing good,
you?
Allie. How are you?
I am well. How are
Hi,
you?
Willie J. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, I
Thank
will. Congratulations, bro. I seen your share in that group message. Oh my God,
you.
kudos. That is a
I'm
lot of hard work.
Yeah, and here is my pancake, and I will bring some pancakes also. So I'm going to eat right now. Bon appetit. And
I love you. Always are eating.
I'm going to bring also pancakes aside my pancakes. So ready?
As long as you bring your pancakes with your pancakes, we're all good.
I got coffee.
Ah, amazing. Amazing. So this is Saturday Mental Health, and I've been doing that for a year, I think, since November or December, I think. And this is really core to my heart because, of course, you know, I am a language enthusiast, a neuro language coach. I'm going to really boost my business. But aside that, Saturday Mental Health is really pivotal for me because mental health helps me to elevate. And so, Michelle and Sharon, thank you for your invitation. Everyone, you can also scan the QR code or go to the comments. There is a link to join the stage so that we are not only three, but we are more than three. So, Michelle, shall
Hello.
I begin with you? Shall I begin with you, Michelle? Thank you so much for accepting my invitation, on the fly. And maybe you were already sharing a lot during these live events, but I would like our audience to know more about you. You can share as much as you can, as you want.
Well, thank you so much. And whenever you send the invitation, if I'm able to, do it, I definitely jump on because it's always so much fun with you. And you always have these fun platforms, and you never know what you're getting with Ollie. That is the truth. So
Very
thank you for
true.
today. Right. Yeah. Like you never know what you're getting. So I thank you for the opportunity. Everybody out here watching, I'm Michelle. Nice to meet you guys. I am the founder of Don't Raise Statistics. I'm a single mom that I am building a new village. So I have a new support system that I am creating myself. I would say that I have embraced the reality that, just because you're blood doesn't mean that you're family. So the family that I am being embraced by now, I think is more authentic and more genuine and more inspiring because they are family that are choosing to be here with me and choosing to walk this path with me. So for everybody that has become a part of that, thank you. You guys have no idea what that means. Don't Raise Statistics is my organization. We have three main pillars. We have Myth, Pact, and Hope. Myth is mentoring youth through hardships. Pact is parents advocating, creating transformation, and Hope is helping others prevent eviction. It's really a great dynamic between the three to allow us to help all communities within all margins, having specific areas to specialize with each of those. Currently, I would say advocating wise, I'm really going strong right now with the housing and the corporate injustice to minorities and spoken, like the people in the margins are the ones that their voices aren't heard the most. And I'm definitely strongly advocating there right now. Also dealing with a lot with the education sector and mental health, the combination of the two, especially when it comes to my child. I actually was threatened, recently with truancy officers. And it's just like, come on now. Like we are in a whole legal litigation. Like you already
I've
know
been
she's
there.
not coming back. Like, and then a cop does knock on my door this week. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, so they're here to check for truancy. No problem. I was literally, you guys, it was like Tuesday morning. So early. I was in the middle of a Zoom meeting. I was actively making fresh blueberry pancakes. I was like hollering up the steps, Ange, time to start waking up. Like, and knock on the door that I thought was maintenance. And I look and it's a police officer. So in my mind, I just instantly think truancy, like instantly, because that's what the school had been sending emails and calling, threatening. And so I say, I asked him, how can I help him? And he says, well, is Angelina here? Well, yeah, absolutely. She's here. So again, truancy is going off in my mind. And he goes, well, I just want to let you know we are here to conduct a welfare check on your child and the ambulance is on the way. We just received a call from Michigan that stated your child's suicidal. And I'm just sitting here like, oh my God, like this is my real life right now. So this week, I think there's a lot of people I'm engaged in some projects with that I've probably been distant or just seem all over the place. Like I've been dealing with that. So I think that my biggest concern out of what happened out of this entire situation, and I'm thankful somebody thought my kid was suicidal and called for help. Like I'm thankful for that. Like let's just put that out there. That's a blessing all in its own. But I guess for me, where this week has been like my disconnect is I'm her mother, full legal guardian, custodian, everything. Like, why wouldn't you have called me before calling the police department from another state? That's number one. Why didn't you call me? Why? I'm in the home with her. So if you really thought that this was an issue, like, why didn't you call me immediately? Is my first thoughts. But then my second thoughts are many that are, in my village, they know, like, from Thanksgiving to Christmas of this past year, my 11-year-old daughter did become suicidal. And I was battling, some really hard things by myself. So then the next question that's in my head this week is like, I was begging you guys for support for the last like 3-4 years and months, like I'm begging for support and there's nothing. So for these last, 6-9 months, I'm picking up these pieces by myself and I'm nurturing my kid. And you want to interject now? When I just went through this hellacious path alone in the dark, lighting it for my child, and you want to interject now when I've already started the process. But then here's the third one, because shit happens in threes, you guys. So then after my daughter is subjected to observation in a psychiatric ward of a hospital for 6 hours, then I'm told we need a reference. We get referred to the psych department. Okay, great. I've been telling y'all we need psychiatric assistance. Like, great, thank you. Mind you, we was put on this list because I've been advocating for months and years. So we've been on this list since March. And I'm just told again, we're on it again, a second time, this list in August. So now we're on this list twice. My child needs help now. Well, not now, because obviously I have fought until I found it. But the help that she needed that put her on this list back in March, that again, now, you're telling me is a 2-year wait list. So the mental health support that my child needs from a specialist that you're telling me I can't have access to for 2 years, like this, we need to, that's the call to action. Where do we have it? What do we do? The disconnect between these two, for me, like, that has been my reality check this week. And that's just what I've been like really deep diving into researching and literally just trying to educate myself to truly understand this system. Yeah, sure, go ahead. Because I was
going to say I can relate. Many of you may know, and some of you may not, that my son was diagnosed with ADHD at 6, generalized anxiety at 9, which was then changed to severe social anxiety at 15. And at that time, he was also diagnosed with major depressive disorder. So your story, I can resonate with like big time. And my heart goes out to you. And I just want you to know that I'm here to support you through it.
You always have been since we met.
Because I too was begging the school system for help and begging the system in general for help. And they became adversaries. Instead of working with me, they were fighting me and saying that I didn't want help. And my son was actually saying to me, Mommy, I don't want to be like this. I want help. And I was going above and beyond, like you, Michelle, spending hours and hours, days on end, just trying to get the help that he wanted and needed. And that I wanted and needed. There was no support from me either.
I need the village too. Yes.
As a parent, all I was getting was judged and ridiculed. So,
yes.
And I spent many a night, and people have heard me say this before, but I spent many a night crying myself to sleep going, I don't know what I want. I don't know what to do. All I know is I want to save my kid.
Right.
And I want to help him.
And you're reaching
So,
out to every avenue that you think
yep,
is built to assist
yep.
you. And that's
But
one thing that I can tell.
it's like
If I
you
can tell
said,
anybody in our situation, the
yep.
moment the school told me they was refusing the IEP assessment, the moment that they acknowledged they was refusing it, that's one thing people need to understand when it comes to advocating for your children. If you go to your child's school and you request an IEP assessment, they legally have to do it. And there is a time limit on when this assessment has to be done. If they ever refuse, I'm telling you, do what I did. All communication from then, there was no more verbal communication. Everything was switched to emails, because you have, like, that has been my saving grace. I mean, unfortunately, I hate to say it like that, I have to pursue legal litigation in a civil suit against a school and a mental health hospital. But the point is, we should have never got to where my child was suicidal. Okay, like, you guys were not doing what you were legally obligated to do. When I trust that when she walks out that door and she's on that school bus, that is your responsibility. I'm her mom. I'm not the teacher. So that is definitely like the call to action. You need to hold this education system accountable. You need to hold the mental health services that they're contracting with accountable. And the moment you feel like that them conversations are taking that sideways turn, you need to switch to a written receipt form of communication, because that's my saving grace with these legal battles right now. I have time-stamped emails proving all engagement.
Can I add something to that, Michelle? Because you are spot on, but I just want to add something. So I took it a step further, because I believe in having, conversations over the phone or conversations in person, because I still, I understand social media and email, but I believe in human contact. And not that you can't have human contact this way, because you certainly can, and it can be very meaningful and valuable. But I quickly learned that even my verbal communications needed to be followed up with an email. So the second I got off the phone with somebody, I would be, so as per our, thank you for your time today. And as per our phone conversation, this is my understanding of what's about to happen.
Besides getting your written receipt, it's time-stamped and dated. We did at the beginning of the school year, we had a meeting where I went into the school in person at that big office with the big table where everybody was there. In my mind, this was the formation of the team in this new school district, what I have been accustomed to for the previous 5 years, and leaving that office and knowing what I was internally feeling as the mom and the advocate, and like just the person I'm sitting here like, oh, this is not right. I went home and did exactly what you said. I said, so coming home, from this meeting that we just had in person, this is my takeaway. And moving forward, I just want to make sure we're on the same page. And that was when I began all receipts.
Yep.
Nope. Yes, Dr. C. Yes, I got you.
So I would like to.
Dr. CJ, I'm all in.
Let me know what you need.
I would like to first acknowledge because not all the LinkedIn messages are going through. So thank you, Willie J, Keith Cooperman, Kenny, Divine Maxine, and CJ and everyone for commenting. I don't have the all comments, but thank you so much for joining. And anyone could join on stage. This is your space. This is our space. And so thank you also. Thank you, Rakesh Kumar. Thank you, Chim Amaka. And thank you so much for your shares, your comments. If I'm not able to show them on Restream based on LinkedIn and Restream, apologize. Thank you so much for your presence. And you're welcome on stage at any time. There is the QR code out there. So I'm going to yield the mic to now Sharon to know more about you and if you would like to share.
So what I could share about me is that I am a multi-passionate person and professional. I am very passionate about education in this country. and globally. I am very, very passionate about mental health, and specifically mental health of our youth, because they are the future leaders of our world. And if we don't, as we as adults don't start paying attention to what's truly going on with our youth, and if we don't start listening to our youth, because our youth is getting tired of being talked at, they want to be talked to, and they want to be heard, and they need to be heard, because as much as they can learn from us and the generations before them, we can learn a ton from our young people if we are just willing to shut our mouths and open our ears.
Yeah.
And we don't need to be adversaries with our children. We don't need to be adversaries with teachers and school administrators. And most parents don't want to be adversaries. No offense to teachers, no offense to school administrators, but oftentimes they're putting us in a position of being adversaries. And yes, I've been in meetings where parents get really animated and passionate. And I've been one of those parents because my back's been put against the wall. So here's the thing. We need to stop putting backs against the wall and wrapping arms around each other. And that might sound very woo-woo, but this is how I feel. And I believe that we help society, and we help our children, and we help each other when we start looking at people for their assets and the gifts and talents that they have. That's how we help people rise. We rise by focusing on ability, not on perceived deficit or not what we think is wrong with the person. Yes, we do have to have an obligation to help our youth kind of close the gap on what that deficit might be. But at the same time that we're helping them, to minimize the deficit, we also have to build on their assets. And at some point, we have to stop trying to fix the deficit, know that the deficit is going to be what it's going to be, and start building on the assets. Because no one ever said, please, especially for me, I'm going to use myself as an example. Okay. I never said, oh, please, please, please let me be an accountant. Please let me have to work with numbers all day, because I hate math. Math is not my strong suit. I know how to balance my checkbook. I know how to pay my bills. I know how to do that. But I was never going to take a job that required me to be around numbers all day. So these are the things that are about me. I also believe in storytelling and using storytelling as a vehicle to help engage people and youth, and as a way of educating, but also a way of healing. Because what I want to do is help people tell their story, but not just tell their story. There's healing in that, and there's a therapeutic component to that, which is very important. But I want to use storytelling to help people rewrite the story that they're telling themselves, because we're all telling ourselves stories all day long. And those stories that we're telling ourselves are from the internal messages that we're telling ourselves. But those internal messages that we're telling ourselves are a direct result of the stories we were hearing about ourselves growing up from parents, teachers, community members, relatives, it doesn't matter. But none of us are stuck in that story. We can rewrite the story. We don't have to rewrite every chapter. We don't have to rewrite every story, but we can rewrite the stories that aren't serving us so that they serve us better. And it starts when we're very young. And that is part of my mission, is to create stronger families. And please let me go on and say that family does not mean mother, father, sister, brother, as we, doesn't mean the Brady Bunch for those of you that grew up in my generation. It means whatever your dynamic of your family is. So if a child's being raised by a foster parent, a guardian, a single parent household, a same-sex parent household, I don't care. For me, we have to start strengthening our families again and bringing back family connection. Not just let's all be on a hamster wheel and let's go to school from 7 a.m. early, before care, because parents have to work a lot. Parents are given no choice but to work. Even two parents, they have to have two incomes. Michelle?
So
Yeah.
one thing I love about what you're saying too,
Yeah.
how many times, because I know you can relate to this, how many times have you been in that situation where you talk about how we've cried ourselves to sleep, right? How many
Yeah.
times have you sought for information or resources or just finding someone that could just not tell you what to do, but relate in some way for some form of a compassion?
Amen.
And what
Amen.
these stories do, because what I have learned from family estrangement to navigating the education system when you can't afford a lawyer, but you know you're being violated, or housing, all of it. It doesn't matter what area. The stories and the information that you need to read and that you need to understand or educate or to have an example, they don't exist. By
Yep.
writing in these anthologies, by sharing these stories, you do get to heal.
You're
You do
giving
get to
somebody,
but
you're
you're
giving somebody
giving
freedom.
information and
Yep.
knowledge nuggets to somebody that was where you used to be, that can
You're
then
also,
read it in the future to navigate.
yeah.
Ah,
You're
it's
also
just
giving, hi, Paulette.
poetic.
Yay, Paulette.
Oh,
But you're
thank
also
you,
giving
all
people,
the way from the UK.
yep. Can I just add something really quick, Michelle? You're also
Yeah.
giving people permission. You're also giving people permission to feel those feelings and to
Yes.
express those feelings and also find the help that they need. Because
True.
when you're watching your 9-year-old or your 8-year-old say, Mommy, please, I don't want to be like this. I want help. And you know that you're going everywhere to try and get the help, and all you're getting is pushback and judged and told how you're being horrible. It makes it hard for both you and the child. And it's not an easy, none of this is easy. And that's why we need to work together and stop being adversaries, because the more we focus on the common goal, which is to make our world a better place and to do better for our children, it doesn't matter if we have different ways of getting there. We shouldn't chastise each other for having different ways of getting there. We should focus on the common goal that we have.
The only thing I've seen competition do is destroy another village. By coming together and collaborate, we could just keep expanding the zip codes. Like,
exactly. And also, I just want to add really quick, Paulette, before you come on, I just want to add to what you said about the IEPs, Michelle. If your school district is denying you a 504 or an IEP, they can't legally do that. They can ask you to start with a 504. That is okay. But you can quickly get that 504. Hi, CJ. You can quickly get that 504 converted to an IEP. And IEPs and 504s do cover children with other health impairments, which includes ADHD and mental health diagnoses. And all IEPs are supposed to have a section at the bottom of them that says parental concerns. Any concern that you bring up as a parent in that meeting has to be documented in that area.
I have 5 years of IEPs and 504s from the elementary school setting that I guess we got spoiled, because I thought all education in the US, that school was so inclusive and so up to date and so with today. Now, we got spoiled. In my mind, I couldn't fathom that every school didn't operate like this. And this last year, starting middle school and that transition to a new district, that was like a complete mind F for me, because I just couldn't even digest that in today's day and age, these schools are not inclusive. Like, this school district still has a special room in the back of the school for special needs children. Excuse me? They're not integrated throughout classes. Like, what are you doing? CJ,
thank you.
I'm so excited, CJ.
You are on fire. Welcome, CJ. Welcome, Paulette. It's amazing to see you, both of you, aside Sharon and Michelle. Feel free to join
no
the stage.
offense, Holly. You got some strong woman power up here.
Oh, yeah.
I love
CJ.
The estrogen is flying today, Ollie.
No, this is good, because this need to be an international, because right now we're talking about the U.S. educational system that's failing us, right, and our kids. And my daughter's best friend, who's going to name nameless, but she was on that, and she goes to a private school, not even a public school, okay?
Mhm.
And she basically told her mom, you want me to live, you need to get me out of this specific environment. And I think it's, as a parent, it's so disheartening. And I my kids don't have 504 or IEPs, but we can afford to move them schools in private schools. But what about the people who don't have a choice? That is the
Exactly.
problem, right? And so we need to make sure that our kids are having that mental capacity to move forward with what they're doing. But I want to know about Paulette, because she's in a different region. Is this an America problem? Like, do you guys see us like these people are crazy? They have kids coming into school and shooting everybody. What's going on?
Right.
Or is this a UK?
That is, I
Yeah,
think that is
that
a U.S.
that
problem.
bit definitely. That's definitely not a problem we have, thank God. I mean, we've obviously got knife crime, and it's on the increase, but it seems to be, it's a certain group. The police know who they are. It's not everyday people.
Mhm.
It's a bad section. Most of it is drug related, gang related, and those that are, dare I say, mentally ill, so schizophrenics and people who are going out and just seeing everybody as zombies or killer people coming at them, and they've caused that death because of their mind. So there's been some of that sort of stuff, but we don't have the, I mean, to hear children having to have gun training in case there's a firearm training, in case somebody comes in with a shooter, that to me just blows my brain, that that's something that the kids are actually trained in. That
Yep.
is beyond horrific. But I want to just take it back a stage. So picture this, a really, really smart autistic lad, and I don't talk about his story. And the reason I didn't do the bullying story was because I promised him I would never write his story. So I'll talk about it, but I wouldn't put it in writing because he doesn't want someone to read about it. But when he was 6, first question, comes home from school, Mum, what's your favourite cloud? I was like, only cloud I could think of was cumulus. So I said, cumulus, thinking I was going to get 5 points for cumulus, you see. Why is that your favourite, Mum? I was like,
It's the only one I could think of.
because it's not the rain cloud, maybe? And he said, but it is. I said, oh, that's right, because it is the rain cloud. And then we had this bit of a messing around thing. And then he told me about his favourite clouds, and I thought, oh, this is lovely. What interesting conversation at dinner. And then he got on with whatever we were doing. The following day he came home, he said to me, what do you think has more teeth, a shark or an alligator? So I said, Ben, before I answer that question, what topic are you doing in school? He said, oh, I don't learn this in topics, Mum. This is my time in the library. I said, what does that mean exactly? He said, every afternoon I get to spend in the library on my own with all the books. I said, I beg your pardon? He said, yes, he said, because I've done all the work by then, so I'm allowed to go and sit in the library with all the fact books. I said, on your own? Yeah, they can trust me. I'm a good boy. No, I know you're a good boy. But you are on your own, 6 years old, in a room full of books. And I love it. Right, okay, that's great. So we answered the question about the alligator and the shark, and the alligator won. And then we left that conversation. And I spoke to my husband when he came home from work and said, do you know Ben is spending every afternoon in solitary confinement in the library? Now, he doesn't know that it's solitary confinement. He doesn't know that it's punishment, because it isn't punishment. It's they don't know what to do with him. He's already gone up a year. He's already doing the work that they're doing and done it. So here's a problem. So what do you do with problems? You shut them in a cupboard. It's called the library. The cupboard that he likes because it's got books in it, so he can look up his facts. He likes facts. Doesn't like reading storybooks. He likes fact books, which is why we find out about clouds and alligators and sharks' teeth and God knows what else. But the point I'm making is this. Here's a child with the IEP, or we have an ILEP here, but an IEP. And they have chosen as teaching staff to put him in solitary confinement. On his IEP, it said, Ben is of high functioning, The thing that he needs the most is socialization.
I was going to
The
say,
thing that he needs
Yeah.
most is to be with other children, because that will help bring him along. So for every afternoon, they put him in solitary confinement. So I went into the meeting. I sat down with all the people that were there, and I spoke just like I am with you, calmly and matter-of-factly. And I said, so can you imagine my concern? What would you do if it was your child? And they said, but he loves books. I said, yes, but he needs to learn to love people more. And you're supposed to be providing that. And yet it's easier for you to sling him in there, and then he's no trouble. I said, was he any trouble in the classroom? Oh, no. He's never any trouble. Never causes any problems. He just finishes his work too quickly. And so we need something to do with him. So we decided to put him in the library.
I
Great.
also find it interesting that they never let you know.
Mm-mm.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to
It
interrupt.
came
but
from Ben that I
know.
found out. Then, after that was the year 2, so they were going into year 3, and all of his friends who'd been doing all the work with the year, it was a mixed class, 2 and 3. So he'd done all the year, sorry, apologise, it was 1 and 2 were together. So he was doing all the year 2 work. That he was year 1, but he was doing all the year 2 work. So when all the year 2s went up to year 3, I said, well, Ben will go with them, won't he? Because you can't keep him back. Because if you keep him back, he's going to be bored. What's it? If he was already doing all the work before in half the time, you can't surely think that's acceptable. And they would not move him up a year. It was going against the education authorities. So I said, well, I'll write to education authorities, which I did. And I got told, nope, not happening. So it's like, you make your call. So I made the call. I took him out and I put him in the private school, which was probably $25,000 a year. So a lot more money than we expected to pay. A lot more money. A lot more money than most people can afford to pay. But we did it. Do you know what I got told by every single person who was in that room? If you do that, you'll lose all of our support. And I said, do you know what? For what good your support's been, I'll happily lose it, right? So I lost all the support. I had to pay for him to have a counsellor because it was important that he had a safe space, because that's what he likes. He likes to know he's got a place he can go to if he has a moment. And he had, so that was the only thing we had to pay for. The problem we have, and I'll go on to tell you this now, CJ, and this might be something that your friend needs to watch with their child. If they are different, whether it's a neurodivergence or whatever it is, when kids bully, they bully regardless of what school they're in, whether it's a paid school or a non-paid school. When kids are different, they become the target. When kids are an easy target because they're genuinely nice. They are genuinely nice kids. They don't want to cause trouble. They don't want any hassle. They just want a nice, easy life. And that is very difficult to fight a bully, because a bully sees that as a weakness. So the child becomes a squeaky toy. Now, had we stayed in the state system, which over here is the free school, if you like, when we pay for our taxes. Then, as Charles, my husband, was a teacher, one of the heads of maths at a school of 1,300 kids, senior school. If they had a bullying issue in that school, they jumped on it. They dealt with it. The kid was expelled or spoken to. The parents were brought in. It was like, this was done, that was done. There was a process in place. They got excluded. They went to a different part of the school. There was loads and loads of activity around that child, finding out what the problem was and isolating them. The child that was being bullied was counselled and given free therapy by the school to make sure they were okay. That was how it was dealt with by the free school system. In the private school, they got their knuckles tapped. And that's because they didn't want to upset any parents, because they might take out their child from the $25,000 or whatever it is they're getting. So there wasn't the fight that I then had was, well, why are you not talking to the parents? Why we're not having a conversation with the parents and the child? Oh, no, it's okay, leave it with us, we'll handle it. But you're not handling it. And then, of course, I took it into my own hands and started phoning up parents and telling them about their children, things they probably ought to know and things they probably ought to do, and the help they need to get their kids before it becomes too late. And one of the children, Ben, said, I'll never have to work. My parents are rich. And all Ben said to them was, that's nice for you. Just like that. So, because he didn't know what else to say. That's nice. Good for you. I said, that was a good answer. He said, he punched me. I said, why did he punch you? He didn't like the answer. What did he want you to say? He said, I had to say that he was better than me. So I said, fine, let me talk to the parents. When I spoke to the parents, I got told, well, let's be honest. Let's be honest, we are the richest people in the area. So it's understandable that our child, I said, I beg your pardon? So you think that's okay? So you are happy for your child to start their life like this? And then I spoke to, that was the mother. She was an absolute what's it. And then I spoke to the father, who called me back, and he didn't know I'd spoken to the mum because I'd left a voicemail. And the dad phoned back and said, I'll deal with it. And I said, listen, if someone doesn't tell you, I said, I would rather know if it was my child, so I could help that child see where they're going wrong, so they become a decent human being that's let loose into the world for the future. So I said, if you don't agree with me, that's fine, but at least I know I've done my job. And the dad said, no, you're absolutely right. It needs to be dealt with. And then from that moment onwards, he left him alone. And he did leave him alone. He never came near him. But when Ben got to the point where he was literally suicidal, he didn't want to go to school. He didn't want to be with these people anymore. He'd come back from a ski trip that had been absolute hell on earth. They took his phone, then they took his charger. They knew the phone would be run down so that he couldn't charge a phone. So they gave him the charger, then they took away the charger, gave him the phone. And this is how the game played. Then they hid all his pants. Then they put stuff in the showers. It was endless. And the last thing they did was they allegedly, Your Honour, took a photograph of him in the shower and passed it around the whole of the ski group. Now, to a 10-year-old child, that is pretty horrific. And he took it as seriously as you would and I would, that's what they'd done. He came in the shower, the boy, and he did press on his camera. When Ben came out, he said, oh, everyone's seen your willy. Ben was just crying and mortified. And they were all laughing at him. That this is just the boys. And one of the boys of the four was in bed under his covers crying. Ben said, why are you crying, Benny? He said, I don't want any part of this. I don't want any part of this. He didn't want to be part of this. This was a quiet lad who suddenly found himself mixed up in the same room of 4, but 2 were horrors. One was trying to hide from it all, and one was being abused. But he was too scared to stand up for Ben because they might turn on him. And it got to the point where Ben was leaving the hotel in Paris or in the Alps. We didn't know where he was, no clue. And he was walking out of the hotel. And I'm saying to Charles is on the phone looking at flights. I'm flying to Paris. He's looking at flights to see how we can get me there as quickly as we can. Meanwhile, we're phoning all the emergency numbers and no one's answering. And eventually I said, hang on a minute, there was an email. Let me see if he's going to see his email. And I sent an email, answer your bloody phone, which is probably impolite, but I did. And immediately I got a phone call back from the teacher. And I said, I want your back sat against the door to where my son is. Because if he walks out, I don't know where he's going. And I'm scared stiff. I said, you have a duty of care to look after my child. He is in the middle of the bloody Alps and he's walking out of the hotel because he's been bullied and terrorized. And you know what he said? I don't know anything about any of this. He hasn't come to me with any of it. I said, well, of course he wouldn't have done, because it would have got worse. How much worse could it have got, you know? What more could they have done to him? So eventually he got a phone and he'd got a charger and he phoned me. He was in the bathroom, he was sobbing. And I said to him, we're going to sort it out. And then the teacher went in the room and said to Ben, just bring your phone with you and your charger. Just come into my room. Him and his wife were both on the school trip and his 2 children, and he'd got a spare bedroom side to the, like a set, put you up bed. So Ben was going to be in the bedroom locked with the teacher. So he knew exactly where he was. And I could at least get some comfort. So I said, well, I'm flying out. I'm on this flight. Please don't fly out, Mrs. Hallam. It isn't necessary. We've got it under control. We'll deal with it. We'll sort it all out. We'll do this. We'll do that. So I said, okay, fine. But what the teacher didn't know was this, that just before Ben, that teacher came in, Ben had handed me the phone to Benny, who was crying his eyes out, sobbing his eyes out, saying, please pull out. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm so weak and I couldn't stand up for Ben. I'm so sorry. I'm so weak. And I said, darling, it's not your fault. You're not to blame. I said, sometimes we're just too scared. He said, I was so scared. I said, I know. And I said, I don't blame you at all. And then I gave it to the next boy. He said, I'm really sorry for what I've done. I said, don't talk to me. I said, I had the big growly voice on. And I said, you don't know what you've started. And he was like, but. I said, no. I said, you're probably going to end up expelled. And he was like, but. I said, can I speak to the other one, who was the real terror? They put him on the phone and I said, so you've taken a photograph of my son's penis, I believe. And he was like, no, not really. I said, yes, you have. Well, there's no evidence of it. You can't prove it. I said, well, the police will be taking your phone off you when you get home. And they have forensics and they'll be able to find it. And then you're going to get charged with sexual harassment because you're 12. And guess what? When you're 12, you can be charged. And he was like, don't do that. Please don't get the police involved. Don't do it. I said, it's far too late. I said, I'm sorry. You know exactly what you've done. You've had your fun. And Ben's been the squeaky toy. No more. Now you're dealing with me. And at that point, the teacher came in, took Ben out the room. So the teacher the next morning spoke to Ben and said, do you want your parents to fly out, or do you want to come skiing, or do you want to stay here for today? Do you not want to go skiing? And Ben didn't want to go skiing. He didn't want to face the other kids because he didn't know what they'd seen, what they hadn't seen. And the phone, would you believe, went missing. The phone disappeared. It's gone. Lost. Couldn't be found. So the police couldn't use any forensics because there was no phone. I asked them to do some checks by the phone number. Was there any access? He said no, phones, the photographs sit on a phone. So unless it had been sent to somebody, I said yes. He allegedly sent it to the group. So when I went and checked and asked the group, nobody had seen the photograph. You can't argue when there's no evidence. So I had to let that drop. But I went and drove around to see his parents. And I spoke to the mother and I said, your son needs serious psychiatric help now, before he does something that you're going to regret for the rest of your life. It's bad enough he's driven my son to this place, but what if he does something much, much worse? She said, I'll get him therapy, I'll do this, please don't get him expelled. I said, that's down to the school. I said, but if I have my way, he'll be expelled. I said, and so with the other one. Anyway, long and short of it was, they made Ben's life hell because of what had happened, because I'd caused so much trouble for him. I had caused this trouble for him because I made it worse. And then he took me to a tree and said, this is where you'll find me. And I said, this is the most beautiful tree in the woods. Why here? It's because this is where I hide when I'm scared. This is where I come to when they're chasing me. This is where I hide when they're hiding all my stuff in the changing rooms. All I could say to him was, you'd do that to this poor tree? And we hugged the tree, thanked the tree. And we said, thank you for looking after him. And that we didn't want that tree to be named the tree that this is where Ben died. And Ben went, that would be terrible, wouldn't it? I said, yes. So Ben decided it would be a really bad idea himself. I said, right, now you go and get in my car. Leave this to me. And I stormed over, and I've never sworn at a teacher. I've never sworn at anybody apart from friends joking around. The two male teachers were laughing outside the changing rooms. And there was Ben in his skit, waiting, hiding behind the tree. And the two teachers, male, were laughing. I said, what are you laughing at? I said, oh, we've just been putting on a clock to see how long it will be before Ben comes out. We've got a couple of bets going. I said, have you, really? That's really funny, isn't it? I said, can I join in? And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, neither of you are going to win this bet. I said, because while you two arseholes, excuse my language, people, it's going to get very choice. Whilst you two arseholes have been standing out here laughing, they've been putting his socks and shoes in the shower. They've been hiding his pants every single week. Every week he comes home without clothes. Every week his trousers are soaking wet, and he puts them on and leaves school because he knows he has to be dressed in uniform. Do you think that's funny? I am so glad you find this so funny. Congratulations, because I'm going to try and get you both sacked. I'll do my damnedest. And the guy's going, but I said, no buts. He said, the rules are we're not allowed in unless there's any problems. I said, how the F would you know there's any problems if you're standing outside laughing and having a game of how long will it take Ben to leave? Because it's always last. Did it ever make you wonder why it's always last? Because he can't find his shoes, he can't find his clothes, his trousers are hanging up on the top of the shower, and he can't reach them. And the guy looked at me and he was horrified. I said, this is Tom Brown's school days. I said, it's disgusting, and you think it's funny. We'll see about that. Mrs. Hallam, can we talk? No, thanks. Your time is up. I said, go in there, collect whatever you can find of his stuff. And as there was no boys left in the change room, I was allowed in. Guess where his trousers were hanging? From the shower. And it was the best thing that could have happened. You know, one of his shoes was full of water. It couldn't have played out better. I said, that's what I'm talking about. And you think that's funny. And that's $25,000 a year for this. So you can't win. You put them in the state school and they get treated really quickly. It gets dealt with. Not every state school, but one that Charles worked at, the bullying was bang, 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 bang. At the private school, they put a banner up that said, we have an anti-bullying policy. 0 tolerance. And then they do nothing about it. When I read them his note, and I'll tell you the last part of the story to finish off, and then I'll shut up. But I sat there with their note and I read it to them. And I read the psychiatric report that said he was 70% likely to do it. And I told them I held every single one of them around the table responsible. They all had a duty of care. Teachers, the head of duty of care for children, the therapist, everybody. They all had the duty of care. The PE teachers, where it was always worse on a PE day because they had access. And at the end of the day, they all sat there. 2 of them, the English teacher and his own class teacher, was crying their eyes out, sobbing their eyes out to think this could happen. The 2 male PE teachers were sitting there with head in their hands. The ski teacher, ski instructor, didn't even want to make eye contact. And the head of the year said to me, what do you want to do about it? I said, well, I think you know that I have connections in the media and I work in the media industry, don't you? And their faces were like, oh. I said, I could probably bring this school down. Don't push me. I said, what do you want us to do about it? I said, you come up with a plan and you let me know. Until then, Ben won't be here. Ben will be taking the next couple of weeks off school because we're going to need therapy every day for a week. And then the following week, it was every day for a week. And then we got down to 55%, 60%. Then it went down to 45%. But it was such a huge risk. It was yes or no. It was as simple as that. And at 30%, they said, Paulette, you've got enough experience and knowledge that you can handle it. Take it from here. We could keep taking your money, but take it from here. By which time the school had written probably 5 letters to me. They'd had all the parents in. It'd all been, dealt with, and everything was sorted, and that changing rooms were being managed differently now, and school trips would be handled differently from now, and this and that. There was 101 things fixed, and it got us through till he was 18, and it got us through. It got us through. And when he was 16 years old, the brave lad went into the headmaster's office and said, sir, I'd like to set up an anti-bullying desk and I'll man it. He's now 6 foot tall by this stage. He's a big lad, strong. He said, I'll man the desk, sir. In my black suit, I'll just sit there, and any child who wants to come and talk to me, they can. Because I've been there and been through it. And do you know what he was told? They don't have a bullying problem at that school.
Oh my
Beat
goodness.
that.
Thank you so much
So
for
full
being that
circle.
vulnerable.
Paulette, I
Yeah,
can
Thank you.
so relate to your story with Ben, and I appreciate you sharing your story and your Ben's story, your story, my own story, and stories I've witnessed with other families that I work with are part of why I do the work that I do. For those of you that have not read my chapter in Moving Beyond Boxes, my chapter is about how I was silenced and bullied incessantly throughout my high school experience. And when I would go to teachers for help, I would hear things like, well, I don't know what you want me to do about it. I can't control them. And I was told that, we have a zero bullying, policy. However, they don't have a zero tolerance for bullying, policy, because a zero bullying policy tolerance would be your ass is out, pardon my expression, but their butts weren't out. And the other thing is, I know recently even, I know a story of a child who was told, if you're getting bullied, come to the office, right? Come to the office. And they would and come to the office and you won't get in trouble. But when the kid came to the office as he was told to do, they both got expelled. I mean, suspended. The kid that was being bullied, that was doing what they were told to do, to come and get help from, administrators, they both got suspended. And please tell me how that even, how do you even wrap your brain around that? It's crazy to me. And unless and until we give mental health the same respect and attention that we give physical health in our country and every other country around the world, we are still going to have these problems, because we can put policies on paper, but if we don't do something with those policies, then those policies could be used for toilet paper. And I'm like Paulette and everybody here, I cannot sit back and just watch these things happen. My son was never officially bullied, but he got things said about him behind his back, not only from children, but from teachers. Teachers would say, you are a lot better looking when you had shorter hair. Your mom should make you cut your hair. Are you kidding me? And then you wonder why my kid doesn't want to come to school, because you're a bunch of, I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
And, my son is very bright academically, and I'm not saying that to be conceited or brag, but they constantly said, well, if he would just apply himself, he could, do this, and this. And I said, well, if you would give him the emotional support that he requires, because I can't come to school with him every day, where is your accountability? And that's what I mean. We cannot in any country say that, school is for academics and home is for social emotional growth. It's everywhere. We're all responsible for every part of every human's growth. Yes, you can say that school is more for academics if you want, in a sense, but you can't compartmentalize somebody and say, oh, well, you can, we have a responsibility, and we have opportunities to infuse academic learning and emotional social development at home and at school. And I'm going to say something that's probably not going to be popular, but I'm not all about popular. I'm about making a difference. So bullying starts at home, because kids don't come out of the womb. Kids don't come out of the womb nasty. Kids don't come out of the womb having biases. These biases are learned. And unless and until we as adults take responsibility for that fact, we're going to have statistics like we have now. Kids are dropping out of school at alarming rates. And I'm sure that's not just a U.S. thing, but I can only speak to the U.S. because that's where I live. Kids are dropping out of school by alarming rates. Suicide
it happens
rates
also everywhere.
It's worldwide.
Everywhere.
Yeah, suicide rates are way up in our country, and I'm sure everywhere else. There's no child in this world that should think that the only way that they can alleviate their pain is by taking a permanent solution of killing themselves to what should be a temporary problem. And there's no child that should be punished for being different, for learning differently, for looking different, for any of it. And it should not be tolerated. And unless and until we put structure in place that's truly not going to tolerate this, then we're not going to get anywhere. So like I said, I'm not here to be popular. I like to be liked like everybody does, but I'm not about being popular. I'm about making a difference. I want to be the change that I want to see in this world. And I'm very solution oriented. So I want to challenge, I want to empower, and I want to inspire people to do the tough stuff. It is tough to stand up. And it is, Paulette, I can totally understand how your son situation got worse when you made noise, so to speak. But that's not how it should be. I had the same
That's how it
experience
seems
when
to
my mother
happen.
came to my, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It happens. But again, that's part of what we shouldn't tolerate. It should not be
The more
okay.
noise we
The
make, it's
thing
like
that
the more
I would say,
retaliation there is.
Yeah. And that's
absolutely,
exactly
but the thing is,
that's exactly the
these are
problem.
scars. What I would say is, and the fortunate and the reason that I don't put it in writing is these are now scars. These are scars on our children's, the traumas they carry. And he doesn't always need to think about it, but when he went to university, he said, I can't share a bathroom, Mum. I can't share a bathroom because of what happened. So
It's
we
a
had to
trigger.
make sure that that was one of the key issues, that he had an ensuite bathroom room, because the thought of sharing a bathroom still sends him in a tailspin. Trauma. So
But
the
can
point I would make is that it's not just about what happens in the school, happens in the classroom, it's what's carried on outside with all the
Absolutely.
social media, and then it carries on into their adult life,
It
even to the
happens in the
point of
workplace.
it happens in the workplace. There's workplace trauma and workplace bullying. But
Uh-huh.
the thing that I was trying to say is that from a 12-year-old child to a 21-year-old will be adult, we still need an ensuite bathroom. We do not share because of what happened.
Listen,
That is
I can,
trauma-based damage.
yeah, it is. And I just want to say, and I wasn't trying to interrupt you, Paulette, but I still have trauma or triggers from being bullied. I will say, and I believe the same is true for your son and other people who have been had these experiences. You do learn to cope with it, and but I will never use the words get over it. And I have people even now say, aren't this was so long ago, can't you just get over it? And what I want to say is, no, I will never get over it. I can manage it differently, but it left an indelible mark in my soul, in my heart, and in my brain. And that has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the experiences and the fact that I didn't feel safe. When you go to school administrators and you say, I need help, and nobody's there to help you, and they say, what do you want to do about it? And you're forced to return to that place every day, because if you don't, your parents are going to be brought up on truancy charges.
The repeated
Get out of
exposure.
here.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
I
think
would
what
like.
I want to say, what I can hope to add to this, this is my current real time life right now, is Sharon talking? I don't know who's talking. I don't want to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Nobody's
okay. It looks
talking.
oh, okay. But I think that obviously I really love what Dr. CJ was saying about we really do need to form a worldwide advocacy type support system for this. I posted a video that I was really happy somebody helped me get put together because of my experience this week, and just having it posted within these last couple of hours on all of my social media platforms. I do have people reaching out to me saying, what can I do to advocate? What can we do to bring awareness to this? I had no idea. And I mean, some of these people are people that don't even have children, but they're reading my story and they're seeing what Angelina and I are going through, and they're just like, holy smokes. So one thing that I would just really like to bring into this is that I'm a single mom. I will never wish it on anybody. My child is 11 years old, and I've had to firsthand pick up the pieces of her telling me that life will be better without her existing. And she meant it. And to know, like, I want to cry, to know
I
11
got
years
you,
old,
Michelle. I got
I'm
you.
40, and I know what I've faced through life. And to think that my 11-year-old child is facing things right now of such despair for her, because this is her.
Can I?
She's valid for feeling whatever she feels. And then that makes me feel like I'm failing as a mom, because it's
You're
like
not.
I can't take away the pain. But this is what I want to like let people know is like these are the pieces I've been picking up. My daughter's going to be 12 and just, a couple, I haven't even hit teenage
Michelle,
years. And this is our reality. But like people need to understand that people like myself, I'm building my village. I've been navigating these waters with no support. So when you hear somebody engaging in these types of conversations, try to like withdraw like your own maybe personal instant want to give an opinion or give a recommendation, and just listen and understand like advocating can be as simple as providing the safe space to allow us parents to be
mm-hmm.
vulnerable, discuss it, and to like make people aware
Advocating
of
can
it.
also
But
be.
it needs to be done without judgment. You cannot
Thank
judge
you.
somebody for how they're parenting in their home based on the situation, because you don't know what you would do in this situation. Should you're not walking in my shoes. You don't understand my daughter's shoes. You're not walking in her shoes. So just listen. I would love feedback, but don't tell me what I have to do. Maybe recommend what you think is a possibility that could be done. But don't be condescending and don't
Right.
judge me based on what I'm doing, because you don't know how to handle this situation. But I would never, even my worst enemy, I would never wish for somebody to know what it has to feel like for your child to look at your
I
child and just know they're hurting that deeply. Because, and like Miss Paulette said, my child doesn't need to be separated and put to the back of the school building. She needs assistance
exactly.
with healthy social peer-to-peer integration. She could go socialize with a baby and she could go socialize with an adult, and she is so intellectually smart. You would be amazed at your conversation. But you put her with a group of kids and she struggles. That is where we need
Mm-hmm.
to be filling in the gaps. I'll
Yep.
pass them.
But
I'm
your
just
experience that
trying
you're
to bring that. Like we need to
your
be
your
building
experience
more
that you're
villages. And give me 96
your
hours to get
experience.
with Dr. CJ. We'll have a framework soon for this
Yep.
advocacy group.
Your experience, Michelle. I want to tell you, and I know I've told you this before, but I want to tell you in front of everybody watching our team replay, your experience. You are echoing the experience that I had in my life with my son. And my son's 20 now, and things have gotten better, but they're not perfect. He's still struggling to find himself, and he's still working with, mental health professionals, and I'm still getting, well, how come you don't make him do this, and how come you don't make him do that? All I want to
Right.
say to you, Michelle, is you are not a bad mom. You are a phenomenal mom doing the best you can, and people need to be more supportive. And I can relate also as a single mom, because I'm a single mom as well. So I was doing this myself as well. And there was a lot more judgment than there was support. And again, that's why I do the work that I do, or at least a big portion of the work that I do. Because unless and until we give mental health the same respect and attention that we give physical health in our country, or even the same importance that we give academic education, we're ignoring the signs that our society is falling apart. We see it falling apart, but we're ignoring the root of the problem, or at least one of the biggest roots of the problem. And go ahead, Paulette.
Can I just one thing that I thought
Yeah.
was really important to say is that before I decided to come on LinkedIn and start writing books, I was going into schools with a basket, dressed up as an old lady with a walking stick, as Mrs. Worry, and children could put their worries in my basket, and I would take their worries away, and I would put their name on them, and I'd read through their worries, and if there was anything that was a red flag or something that needed bringing up, I could take it into school the next time I went. But most of the time it was things like, my mummy drinks too much, or I'm worried about my daddy because he smokes and he might die. Things like those kind of comments. And then you'd see the occasional thing was, I don't like my uncle. Okay, well, there's got to be a reason, right? So you don't see that as a red flag unless you're me. That to me is a red flag, right? So I would just say that needs to be discussed. Okay. So I would pull these things, and then it's like you go away from that because you can't go to every school. There's one of me. I can't go to every school just in my area. I'm disabled. I just couldn't do it. So it was like that's why I started writing the books. But the real reason I got so completely shocked was that friends of mine whose children who were older and were going through a terrible time with a narcissistic dad and horrendously beaten up by using religion, and it was a horrible situation. And between you and me, they were given 18 months before they could see a therapist. Now, if you are broken, if you are disclosing and you are telling somebody at that point, you're brave enough to speak up at that point, and then you get told, well, in 18 months we might be able to help you. How the heck does that help the mental wellness of that child? So all you can do is become the therapist and have the revolving door. And that's what it ended up looking like. And I had to say, I can't do this. I'm going to go mad. I literally could be doing 18-hour days and giving 40 minutes to each child. It could have been a revolving door, and it's not fair. Children, adults need mental health, and they need it in exactly the same way as any other form of health service, and it needs to be available. And I was told that they would need 100,000 more therapists, psychotherapists, counsellors in order to meet the demand. 100,000.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They're not even training that many.
Mhm.
So that means they're going to have to import X amount from all over the world just to meet current demand. This is quite a major situation. And what we don't seem to understand is, and this is my view, is that the mental health of the children today, what's going to happen in 10 years' time? What's going to happen in 20 years' time when these traumas that they've had that were never dealt with going to come back and bite them in the arse, and they won't know which way to turn? Something has got to give, and it's the mental health services of the world. Because I know it's not just America and the UK, it's every single country is having this problem.
Thank you so much. And I see you, a person named by you on the camera. So I'm going now to welcome you. Who are you? You?
I am. Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Emilio. What's going on, buddy? I'm
Fine. I recognize you. Welcome.
you know that I can resonate so much with our previous speaker, and one thing that I can say is that the nonprofit organization that I have founded, it aims towards these innocent souls that have nothing to do with a grown-up's decisions, which is children affected by parents incarcerated. When one of our law agencies go and apprehends a fugitive, and it so happens to be their guardian angel, their main priority is safety. So they go in with full force, and they have no consideration for these children. They don't know what they're gonna do. All they know is that the police, the law enforcement, is the boogeyman, is our enemies, and within this community that I live in, and that's something that needs to be seriously addressed, because these children are not supposed to be being raised, being grown, even though it's a lower income community, being feared of the law when they are there to establish well order and making sure things run accordingly. And that is something that these children can't speak on. So I was really touched by our previous speaker. I'm so glad that I was able to hear her because yeah, this nonprofit organization is based on West Dallas, Texas. It does plan to expand to the whole 50 states of the United States. And since there's a lot of people incarcerated from other countries, those children is the same thing as if they were blue, black, brown, gray. It doesn't matter. These children didn't ask to come, yet they are being subject to harsh punishment, turbulence, emotions that you can't have. You can't even depend on a professional psychiatrist, a psychology, a counselor, a mentor, because they don't understand what they feel like a person that does understand and has transformed his life. And I just wanted to share that piece. And I thank you for giving me the platform to introduce myself.
I
I'm Emilio Noyola Jr., president and founder of the Eagle of Hope nonprofit organization. I'm having a little difficulty still climbing, bringing it up, but I will bring my human wings like Mr. Keith Cooperman tells me all the time.
thank you for joining us and thank you for your share. Are you the person that's coming up as LinkedIn user? Just curious.
I'm not sure. I mean, like, look.
No, I see it's Keith Cooperman that is LinkedIn user.
Oh,
Sometimes
it's
his
Keith?
stream is
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
Yay!
Thank you
Nice
so
to
much.
meet you,
Angelica.
So,
Thank you,
Mr.
Krista, for
so
joining.
Keith had not to interrupt real quick. Sorry, you guys. My groceries got delivered 2 hours early, and there's freezer stuff. But no, Keith had went into hibernation mode this week for a little break,
gotcha.
and he's learning the repercussions of unhibernating.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for your share.
It's my honor and pleasure.
Real quick.
Is that just because on that? I'm mic'd on, yeah. I was about to say, can you get government grants to help support your nonprofit?
Well, according to many advice that I've gotten from even federal grant writers, when it's a 501c certification, it takes time, at least a year or 2 years to get funding because they already got a system already in place. And they don't know how the books are going to be run. They don't know how the money's going to be dispersed. So that is something that they won't know because they don't want to give it a chance. They want you to be working on your, I guess, on your faith and passion. But it's everybody says that. So I still didn't look at that way of getting funds. I looked at it in a way that I have something that I experienced through blood, flesh, and bones. So there's no one that can say how a child feels when I have my son that's 18 months old, my daughter that's 4 years old when I left them. Now they're 21 and 23. What I heard, how I felt, is something that hurts every time I remember it. But if I can avoid for these children to feel that way, being that my children can speak to these children that already experienced that
Mhm.
hurts reality.
There
If
definitely is funding and grants out there, and it's definitely
yeah,
something I would like you to consider doing because it would certainly give you that jump up that you need, the financial support
if
to
if
get
we're
that
not
done.
already, sorry, Paulette. If we're not already connected, can you please send me a connection request?
Yeah, I
So
was
you
saying the
can you
same
can find
thing.
me you can find me on as Sharon Byrne on LinkedIn. So send me a connection request because I'd love to continue the conversation if you'd like to.
If you're speaking to me, ma'am, I absolutely
Yes,
would.
yes,
But I'm
yes.
confusing you with Michelle, Ms. Ramos. I'm sorry about that because I can't see on the phone. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
get
no,
my
I'm Sharon Byrne and Michelle's Michelle, but I'm
yeah yeah
Sharon
yeah.
Byrne. So
Okay,
if we're
Shalom.
not,
Uh-huh.
go ahead.
I'll make sure
No,
that he
'cause
gets all the connection. I'll make sure it happens, Sharon.
Yeah, I
Okay,
sent
cool.
already the profile of dear Emilio on
yeah
Sharon and Crystal
yeah
DM.
yeah
Okay.
I just wrote it down
yeah
on
and
my to-do list.
All
I
right.
got
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you so much. And listen, I was just and told about this event, and I really wanted to share the space with my friend Michelle But I greatly appreciate all the support. Anybody that gives me a positive feedback and a warm embrace, to me that's gold, because I've been discriminated so much, and I'm not crying. I'm not doing any moaning, because it could be worse here. I'm not homeless. I got food.
It's
I
okay
got
to
food.
state your facts. It's okay to state your facts. Just because you're stating your facts and your truth doesn't mean you're not grateful for what you have, but you can still state your facts as to what you want more of. So don't feel like you have to explain or defend or apologize. Please.
But it's good. It's like I've been. My year anniversary was June 16th at 8:30 a.m. when I was released from federal prison, and I look back in time. I might not have my finances right, but the road through that year, as I look at it, and anybody would just take a little moment and just think about it, man, it's been a phenomenal year for me, because I met a lot of great people. It doesn't matter if they didn't give me no assistance, but the knowledge that I have now, it's really for me to say that, you know what, I'm in a point where I have what I want under my control, under my intelligence, under my fist. It's just the leg work that I still got to keep pushing. But hearing people with warm embrace and positive feedback, it really does motivate me, because as in this community, to see my friend with his nose bleeding, that telling me to get him out of he calls me particularly to go see him, that he wants me to take him out of the neighborhood because he's not doing well. He's addicted in drugs, and to know that after we spoke, he changed his life. As I seen him like a month and a half ago, a month I think, and he's driving out of town. I mean, he's doing good. So to have that positive influence and transformation, it can't be just me. It's divine powers of God that has empowered me to serve the land where He created us, and that's just something that I know that keeps me motivated and pushing. Even when I'm in my worstest times, I know there's a better tomorrow.
That's why we need each other's and to support each other's and to be the rebel, to raise our voice, to challenge or the toxicity of the system. So with that, I'm going to pass the mic to Crystal.
Thank you. First, like I said, doubled the whole connection request, but I do want to ask you, Emilio, have you met Jackie Hulbert yet?
Jackie Hobart, the reentry rehabilitation program. Yes, I have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, one communication.
Okay, cool. So forget what I said, Michelle, in the chat about that. He's already got it covered. But
see, the thing is, I'm not going to interrupt because the mic is yours, right? But just real quick, it is so, without words, I can say that point blank that even though that we are for a cause, the collaboration is limited because they themselves have not the collaborations that we really need, because otherwise we would all be doing great things. But thank God that I have touched and grazed hands and rubbed shoulders with some city officials, some state legislators, some Texas state politicians, that I know that we're going to unearth something beautiful for all these nonprofit organizations that really needed to see the collaboration, but they're so self-centered, because I've experienced with many that are very successful, yet we speak, they tell me, advise me, but I don't hear from them no more. And I won't say no names or anything, because I'm just grateful that they gave me at least a moment at a time, at least to hear them and to see how successful they are, yet they don't turn and give me some assistance, some guidance. I can't help but just know that when all this is said and done, I can really feel like Mr. Nelson Mandela after 27 years and a half, becoming the South Africa's president, the most prestiged royal man in that nation. That takes real sacrifice and real hard times to know that you believed in yourself and you can't see nothing but what you are really going for in this lifetime.
Well, I know we don't know each other for more than right now. Maybe we've seen each other around, but I want you to know that I believe in you. And I certainly believe that everybody deserves a first chance. And I say it that way on purpose, because it's not a second. It's not a second chance. It's a second first chance to take the information and the experiences and the knowledge you have and create something new with it.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm hold on. I hear look right now as it stands, since it's been like 7 weeks ago that I got laid off on my job that I was tested and I passed. But I was the first one to get laid off because of my back history. And I just remember that day that I was just so devastated. Like, man, how? I mean, like, God, I mean, like, I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to. At 2:48, and I keep saying it, 2:48 in the morning, I just fell to my knees and I just like, God, like, I couldn't go to sleep. How? How could this be? I mean, like, I know I made my mistakes, but who's perfect? And to be honest, like, after that day that I prayed, the next day I woke up after a good rest, it was a whole different Emilio, because I realized that in prison for almost 22 decades, I didn't have anything. But the next day after I finished boxing practice with Abby Flores, 13-year-old young lady that is daughter of my good friend, I was passing by going to my house, passing by the residence, and a 71-year-old lady was trying to climb up a 12-foot-inch ladder because the city had already threatened her or had warned her that they're gonna give her a citation because the tree is all over the electric wire. So she's going with nothing, with no tools in her hands, just knocking a leaf at a time when she really needs help. I asked her if she needed help, and she said no. It's real quick panic because they have gave her a quote for $2,800 to $3,500, and I told her I'll do it for free. I won't charge you nothing. I realized that I'd rather work for someone that will value me, appreciate me, respect me, and even give me a meal if I need it, if I become homeless. Because how I'm being treated, there's plenty of people that's being treated. So I'm gonna set foot as an example that there's always a better way. There's always a better way, and it always starts with who you really are and what you think you're capable of, because there's always positive things that you can do to help. But that lady was so grateful and tells me after I had a chainsaw in the back of the car for the grace of God that I didn't know how to cut a tree. I've never cut a tree before. But my brothers were working on a house, on my mom's house. So I had it and I told her, look, Miss Maria, how easy it is when you have the proper equipment. When she seen me knock in 15 seconds a big trunk of that tree, her beautiful eyes lit up and she was like, yes, can you help me? She's not bilingual. I said, yes. So it took me literally like 6, 7 hours to finish that job because it was a big tree. And it was not one, it was several of them. So come evening when the night is taking over, I wanted to go back to the house and just see it. And I have got the chills when I seen this big cross with a Jesus piece, with a Jesus on it. It had always been there, but nobody seen it. I never seen it. Even when I was working there, I didn't see it. But it was there very, very open, clear that Almighty was there because it was big, but nobody could see it because it was all covered with the tree leaves. And I feel so good. Since then, I have done 11 houses out of charity work with my own tools and equipment, even though I'm not winning nothing, which everybody scolds me and tells me, like, how are you going to be helping somebody? We can't help yourself. But this joy I feel when I see this blind lady, half blind lady, cry with her good eye, and like telling me thank you because she wanted to do it for like 40 years already. Trees that are on top of her house, I feel so good. I feel empowered, and that is something that I don't ask permission because they will never understand me, and I don't expect for them to understand me. That for me is value for me to be out here in society after I paid my debts and made my mistakes. So now I founded my own company too because there has been some real profit business that I have gotten through that, but I can only do so much. It's just me. My tools were out, and it's like all this I know is happening for a reason. For me, I know it's happening for a reason, and I know God Almighty is with me because I'm empowered with this passion and motivation that I know I will meet whatever president we're gonna have in this nation for the great things that we in the community are doing because as Ms. Kimberly O'Neill says, a nonprofit organization, just because you're the president and founder, it's not yours. It's the community's. And I love that because
Yes.
that is theirs.
Yes.
I want it for them. That is theirs. Like that is y'all. That's y'all baby. That's y'all baby. Because when I get it all said and done, United States ain't the only country I want to be in. I'm going to go tour the world, conquer, because I know business.
Global.
So it's just a matter of time. It's
Yes.
difficult when you don't have nothing, but when you have something, everything is easy. And that's what I tell Michelle. Just relax. And
Amazing.
Martha Lois. Thank
Amen.
you. Yeah.
Amen. Thank you so much. So now I
We're gonna
yield the
take
mic
this
to
world. We
Crystal.
got this.
Crystal,
Yeah.
this is your chance right now. Oops, I just
Mhm.
okay.
So, if, talking about with you, Emilio, it brought up the premise of my the first book in the anthology in the Rise of Crystal Phoenix anthology series. Actually, the first book is the book that I want people who had experienced abuse as children and decided to make the change and break the cycle, even if originally as an adult they were abusers. They kept it going and then realized that what was going on in their life, they wanted to make that change. They didn't want to repeat this cycle. And sharing their stories to give other people hope and everything. And your story, everything that you shared is so true. People shouldn't be vilified because they made mistakes in their life, especially if they've made the conscious decision, I've paid my debt to society. I'm not going to repeat my mistakes. I won't, I want to get a good job. I've got all these skills and it's not fair. I get turned down for jobs because of traffic probation. When 20 years ago, I'd gotten a job, and then when they did my background check, because of being on probation for traffic,
Mhm.
I couldn't do it. It's the same thing. I scored a 97% on my paraprofessional exam to
Mhm.
work with kids. But because of that probation, I can't work in the public school system here until I get it expunged. And it wasn't even a violent crime or anything. So I completely understand and really, really do appreciate what you're working for and would love to talk with you more
Can
about it.
I can say something? Can I say something real quick about what you can't work with the schools? I guarantee you, Miss Crystal, right?
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if it so happened that I was in that area, or any one of us right here in this meeting right here, if they were to be in a position that holds weight, that holds power, you will be in every school you want to be, because that is what is in power. Connections, the ones that have the position, because there's nothing that anyone can do. There's so many laws that are broken intentionally because they feel they just empowered to. Can y'all see me? Can y'all see me?
I think we lost him.
No, 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 no,
There
no.
he is.
No, no. Can you see me?
Yeah.
All right, can y'all see me?
Yes.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, can y'all see me?
Yeah, we can,
Yeah, but has
and we can
anyone
hear
else
you.
got their mic open? Because I keep hearing interference.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay, yeah, so yeah, I wanted to get in the computer. So now it's like in prison, I was housed in segregation. When I was ready to go see my mom and my dad, when they drove 7 hours, but when they call me, I'm not there. I'm in special housing unit. I have to see them through a window. Why? Because the officer just so happened that at that moment where I'm really speaking about policies, he gets so offended because I'm citing what is expected of him and what is expected of me. They don't like that. I'm being transparent with the policies, with regulations in the BOP. But that, for being knowledgeable on rules and regulations, I was punished. So to have my mom drive 7 hours and not see me, but 30 minutes. And then I asked for a picture. They said, we don't take pictures here. So you're discriminating then. So there's so many things. And to top that, to have a broken bone and to have a malicious officer simply because I filed on him, because I asked him for 29 days to move me to a handicapped cell because the doctor deemed me incapable of to be walking on my own. So I had to be confined to a wheelchair. So when I filed on him because I failed, went unconscious and chipped my teeth, he gets mad, changed my cellie, and does put me in a handicapped cell. But he puts another person to abuse me because that person has been in that segregation. So I was incarcerated for 13, 14 years. I mean, like, there's no man that exists that's going to put fear in me, but it's just the principle of it. To know, I don't even know what was wrong with this individual, but all I know is that at 12 something at night, I wake up and he's invading my space and I felt instantly disrespected. So I tell him, I'm going to ask you one time and one time only to scoot back. All right. I don't know what you're doing because he does get right there to get the window to get on his bunk. So I felt uncomfortable and I got on my wheelchair and I went specifically, wrote a note and told the officer, because it was embarrassing. You're going to move me out or you're going to move him out because I am incapable of defending myself. And I feel that there is an aggressive towards me, where he's violating my space. I need you to call the lieutenant. Guess what? He called me back 6-7 minutes later, said, we're not moving nobody. So make yourself comfortable. Do you want the light on? He wants to still ask me if I want the light on or light off. So, I obviously that I was so hot, I told him, just get out of my door, man. So I was so mad and even madder when he did that. So I just lost it, right? Next door to my cell is a friend of mine that when he hears a wheelchair making noise, he instantly goes and hits the ventilator. I realize when I am cutting his oxygen because he's losing life, that he was mentally not there because he was taking a lot of pills. Because the first thing he said, what did I do? What did I do? A person that is being aggressive and violent does not say those words. So before he lost oxygen completely, I let him go and I said, just stay away from me, man. Just let me be right now and stay away from me right now. He said, but what I do? He was so paranoid. It was those drugs that was making him feel and do a certain way that made them believe that he was going to do certain things to me when it don't work like that. You don't just, every inmate knows you cannot mess with another race. It's just, especially us Hispanic, Latinos, and African Americans, blacks, whatever you want to call them, because we're the majority. That's what really rules the prison. So we know our line. So that individual, that officer really made it clear that no matter what you know, what you got, like, we don't care because there's so many abuse. So it's about, I just wrote an article today about resilience, and it goes something like this so you all can see what I was talking about. And after this, I'm gonna let it go because I was just a surprise with y'all. But it's something that I wanted to share.
And what a surprise!
No, well,
An
I didn't know
amazing
Michelle
surprise.
was gonna invite me. I didn't know Michelle was gonna invite me, and I didn't know I was gonna meet y'all.
It's been a great surprise.
An amazing
You're
surprise,
a great
yes.
surprise.
Thank you. I see Miss Crystal is having trouble. You all right?
Yeah, just my phone decided it wanted to spaz on me. Tech issues are very alive and real with me this week, apparently.
Them gremlins,
I want to
man.
read this. Like, this is what I wrote today for the morning. I said, the morning scene, soft sunlight filters through the window, and I lost y'all because it went okay. Soft sunlight filters through the window, casting a warm glow in a quiet room. The air is still heavy with the weight of recent sorrow. The old lady, frail but strong in spirit, sits quietly in a chair, gazing out in the world she's known for so long. Good today, we rise with a heart heavy yet resilient. Loss has visited us, taking a loved one away. The void left behind is deep, the pain sharp, and the sorrow profound. In times like these, it is easy to be consumed by grief, to let the sadness envelope us entirely. But we must be vigilant, especially for those who remain, like the old lady, the wife, who sits quietly, her gaze distant yet full of memories. Her heart bears the weight of many losses, and in this moment, the sorrow of others can magnify her own. It is in her eyes that we see the echoes of our pain, and in her silence, we hear the unspoken words of life, touched by countless joys and sorrows. Let us be prudent, and let us be attentive to our vigilance. We protect her spirit, and our grace we shield her from the depths of despair. For in unity we find strength. Together we create bond that holds us up even in the face of loss. Life goes on, and it always does. The world moves in harmony, carries us forward even when we feel anchored by grief. Let us move it with it, embracing the beautiful that still exists, the love that continues to thrive. For in our hearts, the spirit of those we've lost live on, guiding us, inspiring us, making us strong. Today, we honor the past, we cherish the present, and we look forward to the future. Together, we move forward, resilience, power, and ever connected in spirit. This is something that I wrote on that, and I won't take no more of your time because I really have to go. And listen, I'm not gonna sing today like my buddy here is, because I love to sing too. Well, I don't love to sing, but I have Mr. Melvin gave me an editor because I've been having trouble with the computers, but I've been having an editor now edit my stuff. So now that they're editing my stuff, I mean, I can't stop. Look, I'm full of things that I'm writing now. I mean, like,
But
I'm on it.
before
After
you
Wow.
go,
doing nothing.
Emilio,
Excuse me.
before you go, Emilio, I just want to say that you have a gift for writing, and what you wrote was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
And honestly, I would like to invite you to share your story in book one. I'm not charging my writers for the anthology. We're raising
No,
funds,
look.
but
Uh-huh.
I'd like to at least talk to you more about it.
Yes, we
If
should
you're
get connected.
open
Like,
to it.
Ms. Michelle. Like,
Yeah.
he's
Ollie sent me.
we've been connected. We got
Yeah, Ollie
the
sent
host.
me your profile also.
Yeah, I'm gonna write it right now in the chat. Can I do that? I don't know.
Yeah, but Ollie did send it to me, so I
Yeah,
can
it's okay.
send you a
I am a
connection.
good assistant, you know. I am a good assistant. I connect people. I'm an igniter. So I love to connect with each other. So we are
Yeah, I do the same thing. You can ask Paulette.
right on time. It has been 1 hour and 47 minutes. So I'm going to wrap up in 5-10 minutes. Your last words, Paulette.
Thank you for
Your last
doing-
words for today, Paulette.
yeah, thank you for doing this, Ollie. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Loud and
Yeah,
clear, Auntie.
Thank you for doing this for us, Ollie. And listen, this is only the start. The only way change happens is if you collectively make a change.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to do it together. You can't do it as individuals. You have to do it collectively.
Paulette, I would just like to say that anything that I know that we've talked, but anything that we can do collectively, I'm open to, because I know that we have, like everybody here, we have the same missions or similar missions. So just know that I'm open to anything that I can help you with as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. And no,
I don't know
Sharon,
why
your
it's
last
doing all that.
word. No, Sharon, your last words.
Well, my last words are for today are that I hope that this is just the beginning of the conversation and that we can keep this conversation going, because I believe that we do have to continue to work together to um, be the change that we want to see. And I believe that change is a process. So I hope that this is, the beginning of many conversations around this. And I hope it leads to many opportunities for collaboration between us all to make a difference. And last but not least, I do want to say that one of my favorite quotes is that we are more than our circumstances. And so I end audio rooms and lives a lot with that quote because I just believe that it is so true. It's easy to get caught up in our circumstances. It's not easy to look beyond them, and I totally get that. But we are more than our circumstances, and our circumstances do not and should not define us.
Hmm. Thank you, Sharon. So now, Emilio, your last words.
My last words is that don't think about what you want. Think about you already having it. You will know the powerful connection with your spirit, with your motivation, with your consistency, because where there's a will, there's a way. Connected with other people is the key to success, because you might not have the brain, you might not have the mind or the patience to actually come up with some innovation, something that you need. But as someone else with a fresh mind, you will get your results. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now,
Ollie,
Crystal,
can I
your
just
last
add one?
words.
Can I just add
Yes,
one quick thing,
Sharon.
Crystal?
Yeah.
Because Emilio, you made me. I know, Crystal, but just give me 1 second. Because Emilio, you made me think of something really, really important when you said, "Don't think about what you want. Think about what you have." It also made me think of this. Don't think about what you want. Think about what you can do.
So it's now your turn, dear Crystal.
Thank you, Crystal, for letting me jump in.
No worries. Okay, so my final words: nitwick, blubber, augment, and tweak. For those of you, I was quoting
I recorded you
Dumbledore
right
from
there.
the welcoming feast in Sorcerer's Stone. I had to do the little giggle with the words because of talking with Ollie about his chapter for Rebel and everything, the wordsmithing and everything. So I just thought I'd throw out some silly words. But my final words are this: as long as you treat people with kindness, respect, we will make that change. And I'm saying this all the time. When one of us rises, we all do, because we have built a very strong family that supports each other, and we will continue to do so. And we do welcome new people and try to help them as well. This group of people, especially the ones on stage, I don't know Michelle that well, but Sharon, Ollie, and Auntie Paulette, we all are very heart-centered, and we like to help people. And no matter what your past is, you don't live there anymore. So why should I judge you for it? You never know what storm somebody's walking through. So just treat them with kindness and respect, and the world will change for the better. So just be loving and kind. And gosh, my hands hurt. I just helped my mother-in-law process a bunch of tomatoes for the garden and like de-seeding and everything. My arms and hands are so stiff. It's so funny. Love you guys.
Hey, listen, I bet you I got the cure for you, because look, this little thing just came to me. They let her out. You would have got your hands fixed with this.
Oh my! I used to breed Yorkies as a kid. My mom and I bred Yorkies. So that, wow, small
But
world.
listen, let's not. You said something very important that I wish to really interject something that in society, we humanitarians always think in the most divine, bright, positive humanitarian way. But understand that we are in a position that we're trying to elevate and rise. We don't need to be always where the people that can help us look down on us, because that's reality. The pyramid of power is vicious because they can tell you one thing and they can give you all the hopes, but internally, they're just waiting to get away from you because they're not doing nothing for you. And I say this because I've been very successful at the age of 17 years old. I've been very fortunate with big gains of money that not anybody can have. And that taught me a lesson. That's not everything. Unity, embracement, communication, and knowing who is in that field at that precise moment, the one that should speak, just like the racers do in the Olympics, they're going to do their part to the best of their ability, and that's all we need.
Okay, super. So before I yield the mic to Michelle, I will say my words, and also thank you, CJ. If CJ were there, I think her last words would have been, "We don't compete, we complete." That's her favorite.
Yeah.
And then I
No,
would say,
her last words would be return to sender.
yeah, return to sender. And I will say my last words.
Her last words would be this. Her last words would be, don't look for a life that's easy. Look for a life that whatever. I can't remember the end.
Yeah.
But
Just don't say hard, because hard is all I've known. Okay.
And then I have my special last words, because I love to pun cakes. You know, I love to make puns. So keep shining. You are excellent. And if it cracks up, you can make it an omelette. And bon appetit. So that's it.
Love you, Ollie.
Thank you. And now you have the mic, Michelle, for the last words before I click the button that I'm finished.
Well, I thank y'all for letting my dog. We ran over what we thought. So I had the timing lined up that he wouldn't have needed, that walk until after. But regardless, Ollie, thank you so much for today. Thank you so much for the platform. Thank you. We're creating, these spaces where we get to talk about things that they're not talked about enough. And I'm very appreciative that get the opportunity to create the awareness and to just, bring it to the light. And, we're going to collab with Dr. CJ and we'll start what we need to start. And I'm just thankful. And I'm thankful for the village we're building. And you and I got our own little special bond, and we are group 5, I think. We're coming up soon to be highlighted with Dr. CJ. So, and our book is coming soon. So, we're on it.
Crystal, Mr. Ali, Michelle, Miss Sharon, Miss Paulette, I want to let you know that since I met LinkedIn, all I've been doing is just audios. We need to show by example. We're going to take action. We're actually going to go center point and think about what we're going to do to bring finances to empower us. It's very easy because the world is to our device. I'm not locked up no more. So instead of just talking about whatever you read, whatever you understand, be psychological, be logical, be prudent. All that is fine and dandy, but some of us are hurting. Some of us don't have vehicle. Some of us need to have that. So we need to equip ourselves. There's a lot of things that we can do, but we need to put our minds together, not in resilience, not in being positive, not just in business. I'm a business savvy individual that I know that we can create magic. Just listen to me, whatever I need, adapt to it, and let's create this baby, because we're about to elevate. That's for sure. I'm tired of being broke, and I'm broke simply because I feel like my hands are tied up. And this is the thing, that we are where we are at because we had not connected. Now we're connected. 100% guaranteed, with the Almighty giving me strength and saying this with such facts. We will not be needing anything materialistic other than reaching out to other people and being respectful and helping others, and show the big dudes, the big wigs, let them know that we don't have to be in your position to get the attention, because the people is the one that rules any nation.
Solidarity,
yes,
right
and
there.
I'm also tired to be broke, Oli. I prefer to be ravioli.
I'm with you, Ollie.
Exactly. I'm pastabulous. So with that, I'm
Yeah.
going to close the room because we are already way on of time. Thank you so much for your presence and keep shining, everyone. Keep bringing
Okay.
your
Thank
art
you.